Now, this morning, the Pope celebrated the long-awaited Mass, his first one on African soil. The Pope, who was received at the University of Nairobi grounds by cheering and ululating crowds, called for unity, strong family values, and the need to care for the needy. The Mass at the University of Nairobi grounds was attended by thousands of faithful who braved rainy and chilly weather to see and hear from the pontiff.
After months of planning and waiting, the day was finally here. With their papal mass invite cards at hand, thousands of faithful headed to the University of Nairobi grounds for the special celebration of Mass, some from hundreds of kilometers away.
My name is Madalena Paul. I'm from South Sudan.
And not even the chilly, rainy weather and long queues could deter them. Here, age proved just a number. It was a morning that saw clear roads in the city, the central business district taken over by buses that had ferried faithful to the city from various parts of the country, and the police came out in full force, even with their quad bikes. But not everything went quite according to plan. Confusion reigned over which gates the faithful were to use. There was a near stampede at one gate as faithful attempted to push their way past the National Youth Service personnel manning the gate. But even with the rain, long queues, pushing and shoving, it may have been well worth the trouble. The Pope got a rousing welcome from the thousands of faithful here. As he arrived to preside over his first Mass in Africa. A Mass that was attended by dignitaries, among them Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto, opposition chiefs, former President Mwai Kibaki, former First Lady Mama Ngina Kenyatta, cabinet secretaries, members of the diplomatic corps, and members of parliament. And not even the weather could subdue the mood here, as the faithful waited to hear the message from the Pope during his biggest event while in the country. Pope Francis, who picked Kenya as the first stop of his three-nation tour of Africa, delivered the gospel and homily in Italian through a translator.
Sappiamo che questa profezia.
He spoke of the need to respect and honor the family unit and stay away from practices that tear families apart.
We are also called to resist practices which foster arrogance in men, hurt or demean women, ignore the elderly, and threaten the life of the innocent unborn.
He called for unity, respect for one another, emphasized the need to care for the poor, the elderly, and children, and urged the youth to let the great African traditions and the wisdom of God's word guide them in shaping society.
Mungu awabariki. Mungu awabariki Kenya.
The historic Mass saw prayers offered for the church, the nation, and the needy in different languages, including Maasai and Turkana. And the Pope got to experience the celebration of Mass Kenyan style. There were lively moments, this young choir master proving that he too can do it. Some perhaps too young to understand just how important the man leading the Mass here is. It was a historic 1 hour 40 minutes for those that got the rare chance to attend the Mass, a celebration of Mass that witnessed rare handshakes and smiles between the president and his greatest critics.
It was the first ever celebration of Mass on African soil by Pope Francis, and for the thousands who gathered here at the University of Nairobi grounds, not even the chilly and rainy weather could make them pass the chance of a lifetime to see and hear from a pontiff described as the people's pope. Rita Tinina, KTN News.